Welcome to the first installment of what will be an ongoing series on my channel called The Incompetence of Disney Star Wars. In this series, I'll be delving into the systemic writing problems that persist throughout Disney Star Wars, seemingly getting worse and worse with each release. Except Andor. That show is awesome. But yeah, I don't have a cool way to transition into this video's topic, so in the words of Master Shifu,
Let's begin.
remember in The Force Awakens when they made their landing approach at light speed? And too many of us, me included, said, "Whoa, that was awesome!" And not enough of us said, "Hold up a sec, that seems like maybe you shouldn't be able to do that." When Star Wars was created, hyperspace was something that required precision and could even be dangerous.
Traveling through hyperspace ain't like dust and crops, boy. Without precise calculations, we'd fly right through a star or bounce too close to a supernova and then it'd end your trip real quick, wouldn't it?
Although there weren't any such lines in the prequels, it wasn't treated any differently. But since Disney took over, hyperspace has changed drastically. I think we all have the same scene coming to mind. You know, the one. But it began before that. In fact, the first attack on hyperspace came even before TFA.
Something's about to happen.
Commander, we've lost hyperdrive control.
Emergency positions.
What's happening? Are we under attack?
We're being pulled out of hyperspace.
I'm sorry, you're being pulled out of hyperspace? How is that possible? Before we go any further, I guess I should get an understanding of what hyperspace actually is. So let's just go to the Wikipedia definition. Okay. Hyperspace was an alternate dimension that could only be reached by traveling at or faster than the speed of light. Okay, that's why people speak about hyperspace as another dimension, as a place. Notice they say traveling through hyperspace, pulled out of hyperspace, never at light speed. Of course they're not saying at light speed. Traveling at light speed is pointless when you're talking about going across an entire galaxy. The nearest star to Earth besides the Sun is Alpha Centauri, and it would still take over 4 years to get there traveling at the speed of light. So with all that said, how is the Empire pulling a ship out of hyperspace? They have some sort of tractor beam that goes into another dimension and pulls a ship through to their dimension? That's how that would work.
It's insane!
Oh, it gets worse, Elaine. For hyperspace to function, it necessarily means that ships are traveling at incredible speeds through it. Or at least they're traveling incredible distances in tiny amounts of time. I don't know how velocity works in this dimension. So this Empire ship was able to detect a ship in another dimension, activate its magical tractor beam, get that beam into the alternate dimension, stop the ship, and pull it out in the time the ship was in range. If you don't get how ridiculous this is, let's do some math. A light year is almost 6 trillion miles, so for hyperspace to be effective, it needs to move you at trillions of miles per hour. Again, Alpha Centauri is 4 light years away, and I imagine it doesn't take hours on end to travel to the nearest system in Star Wars. So let's say hyperspace moves you at 50 trillion miles per hour. Now I think we can all agree that's fast. That's 13.9 billion miles per second. Now let's say this ship's magical tractor beam has a range of 10 miles, right? It can be 10 miles to the left of the ship, 10 miles to the right of the ship. That's when it can grab a ship. A ship in hyperspace will travel that 10 miles in 0.00000000072 seconds. Did I get that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, okay. 9 zeros. And to put that into perspective, that's 463 million times faster than blinking. That's approximately the amount of time it took this Empire ship to somehow detect the Rebel ship, activate the tractor beam, send the beam into another dimension, and stop the Rebel ship in its tracks. Yeah, Get wrecked by math, Dave Filoni, you creepy cowboy. So how did The Force Awakens do?
We're making our landing approach at light speed.
Now, would this be possible? Well, I guess if you input the most precise calculations, then sure, you could get your ship to come out of hyperspace in that tiny distance in between the shield and the planet's surface. I'm not sure how quickly you slow down when you come out of hyperspace, but it usually looks like you come out going pretty slow. Wait, wait, so they weren't even using calculations? You just did this by feel?
You serious?
Look, we just did the math for how precise you'd have to be to time something up in hyperspace correctly, so we don't have to do it again. Well done, JJ. Looks like you're just as good as Dave Filoni when it comes to operating within the rules of your universe. Alright, it's time. This abomination. The worst movie I ever had the misfortune of spending hard-earned money on a ticket for. The creme de la creme for this grapefruit. And of course, the hyperspace kamikaze scene. Now, I want to be accurate. Even more than I want to talk about this movie as having no redeeming qualities, and it's real close. And as much as it pains me to say, this doesn't seem impossible. Again, it would take incredible precision, and this incompetent eggplant definitely would have messed it up like she did everything else in this movie. The reason I say it isn't impossible is because it must take some distance to go from stationary to light speed. So if something is between you and whatever that distance is, I guess you'd hit them? But what is that distance? I don't know, let's base it off of this garbage trilogy, I guess. Is there any precedent here established in Disney Star Wars? Oh, hold up. Run that back slowly.
Wait till you see the. No, 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 no.
It happened basically instantaneously. And look how far away Holdo is in TLJ. And look how none of the rebel ships collide with Vader's in Rogue One. Alright, don't worry, precious viewer, you can still count on the sun rising in the east tomorrow. Ryan truly didn't get anything right. But someone at Disney has to get it right, right? At least, like, on accident? Well, J.J. Abrams faces many criticisms. He can't close out scripts, he can't fulfill plot twists, and the only way he knows how to raise stakes in a movie is just by multiplying what is already there. More and bigger is J.J.'s M.O. So it seems quintessential that he would look at Ryan's botchery of hyperspace and say, "Oh yeah, bet you I can screw it up even more." And boy, he sure gave it a go. Meet lightspeed skipping.
Lightspeed skipping!
Wait, before we do that, this dude just ran his ship through an ice wall.
How thick do you think that ice wall is?
And look how they're still trying to salvage Ryan's fanfic. See, look, it takes a long distance to ramp up to lightspeed and enter hyperspace now. Okay, now for the lightspeed skipping. This whole scene is just a train wreck. We haven't even touched on the fact that the First Order can track ships through hyperspace. If you have tech that can track objects through another dimension, how on earth can your stormtroopers still not aim? You don't have tech to fix that? So a couple points with this scene. Poe jumps to hyperspace 3 times. Now I thought you needed to do calculations and input coordinates to travel through hyperspace.
How long before you can make the jump to lightspeed?
Take a few moments to get the coordinates from the navicomputer.
But Poe doesn't seem to be doing that. Between the first and the second jump, he does absolutely nothing. So did he put all these locations in at the beginning? Or is he just going randomly? Because if he is, then he somehow ended up coming out in an obstacle course each time. One of them he came out next to a big monster. This can't possibly be random because 99.99999 who knows how many more 9% of the universe is empty space. But it does seem to be random. And look how quickly the TIE fighters jump to hyperspace after the Falcon does. It's within a couple seconds. So what exactly are they tracking? They're jumping before the Falcon comes out of hyperspace. So it's not like they're tracking where it ends up. They somehow know the coordinates the ship is going to before it gets there. This leaves us to assume that they're getting the coordinates Poe is going to, even though it seems even he doesn't know he's going there. And those coordinates get inputted directly into the TIE's hyperdrive systems and they follow it.
Okay.
But they don't even do that right. If that were the case, these ships would come out of hyperspace at the same spot that the Falcon does. You can't even make a train wreck correctly. Wait, why are the ships reflected? Is there just like a mirror in the middle of the sky? Okay. Dude, keep your eyes front. Oh my gosh. Look at... Oh, okay. Hey, look, the Falcon didn't run into any of these posts that were clearly right in front of it. They just proved Ryan wrong again. Now, before we get to the latest and greatest hyperspace screw-up, I know you're asking, oh, Sauce, you sensational sultan of cinematic smackdown, why are you scrutinizing hyperspace so intensely? I mean, I get all of this stuff is dumb, and hyperspace kamikaze is pretty world-breaking, but man, you're really going after it. I mean, you're even using math. Surely there are much bigger problems within Disney Star Wars than hyperspace. Yeah, you're right, and we'll get to them, don't you worry. Like I said at the beginning, this is going to be an ongoing series. As for why I'm taking a microscope to hyperspace, it was just a form of travel. It was just a way for characters to be able to get from one side of the galaxy to the other without dying of old age on the way. That's all it ever was, and Disney still destroyed it. Disney has butchered every single piece of this franchise they bought from George Lucas, even the things that seemed unbutcherable. Sure, yeah, let's go with that word. That's why I'm starting with hyperspace. And speaking of butchering the Star Wars universe, Ahsoka. Remember the space whales? What has it been with magic whales in the last year? Now, you probably think I'm going to rip into these weird, seemingly sentient whales.
I am currently dressed as a Buddhist whale named Lolita or Takate, depending upon when you met me.
But you'd actually be incorrect. I know, I'm surprised too. You're usually right on the money, dear viewer. Nope, I'm going to question the thing that nobody else seems to have brought up. The Eye of Sauron. Yeah, no, I'm calling it the Eye of Sauron, not calling it that. It's got 7 hyperdrive engines. So let me review how hyperspace works again. It is an alternate dimension that can only be reached by traveling at or faster than the speed of light. Once you've hit the speed at which you can break the threshold to enter hyperspace, I don't think going faster does anything. It's not like these extra engines get you to another dimension that moves you even faster than hyperspace does. Think of it this way. Scales have a maximum weight they can read. Bathroom scales typically can take up to around 400 pounds or so. Once you put enough weight on to cross that threshold, the scale breaks, insofar as it can't read out anything. Adding more weight doesn't break it more, and as far as we know, hyperspace works the same way. There's no mention of going faster or slower when you're in hyperspace. No one is ever driving, they often just chill out and play space chess. It would appear that's because when you're in the hyperspace dimension, it is doing the work for you and your ship. But they had to alter that too. Well, there you have it. Hyperspace getting kamikazed in 5 different Disney Star Wars projects. And like I said, hyperspace ain't even close to the worst of it.
What?
The sauce. I don't know. You're using too much sauce. Okay? Review's over.